Let me give you some predictions about how do I see the future of the next 2-3 years going in terms of how the government will want to implement CBDCs, which is a programmable currencies around the world. Majority of the governments right now are working on those projects. Some of those countries, like Nigeria, have already released their CBDCs and they're releasing those currencies to the people. Unfortunately, right now in Nigeria, it doesn't work it perfectly, just because maybe they don't know how to implement it properly. But the point that I'm trying to make over here is that majority of the countries right now are working on CBDCs. In short, it's programmable currency that will allow government to not only track what are you spending money on, but also limit the purchasing power of that money. So if they will decide that you shouldn't supposed to spend money in a certain area, or you shouldn't be in a certain area of city, of country, or you shouldn't be in that country, they can limit your power of purchasing with that currency because it's programmable by them. That obviously just the possibility, but that's what CBDC, that's how much control will CBDC give to the government. Because there is a big opposition to how CBDC works, and there is a lot of people who doesn't want the CBDC to be implemented in the large scale in many countries, even those governments are already working on them. I have the feeling, and that's the prediction, that the CBDC will be implemented while another pandemic will arise, as COVID arose a year, 2 years ago. It was, in my opinion, it was just a small or really large scale test on the whole population, how people will behave. And they got really good results on it, because a lot of countries were, subsidizing people and giving them money, and that's exactly what, in my opinion, will happen with implementation of CBDCs around the world. That's how the governments, in my opinion, will want to implement and spread the CBDCs, spread the currencies to the people so they use them on a daily basis. In general, I feel that we will get another lockdowns, another pandemic that has been, it has been already scheduled really, which is weird, but again, you can Google it, search for it. There are already talks about the next pandemic, the same way there were talks about the COVID prior to COVID. And now there are talks and plans about the next pandemic. So I have the feeling that with that next pandemic, 2025, I would assume, with that pandemic, everyone will get closed down in the houses like that happened in the past. And in this way, they will be able to spread the currency to every single person. Because there will be people who won't need money, because they will still have money, because they have a lot of savings, they're rich, they doesn't necessarily need a lot of money. But majority of the population, the one that will need money, will have to take that CBDC, will have to take those programmable currencies. And in this way, the governments will have even more control over the societies around the world. And you can already see that majority of the governments around the world doesn't work for people, doesn't work for the taxpayers, even though they get paid because of us. They get paid because of the taxpayers. They don't necessarily work for us, even though they're supposed to work for us. And that's what the government is in the first place. It's supposed to provide help to people from those taxes, right? With that CBDC, there will be so much more control into the government hands. And I have the feeling that after 2025, or in 2025, that's exactly what will happen with that new coronavirus, with the new pandemic. But hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully that's not going to happen. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts, and let's have a funny discussion, I guess. And maybe we can actually do something about it, because I am actually working already on something that will be an opposition to what CBDC is. Again, let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much for today, and I see you tomorrow.